So the first thing I want to do is on this little table, if you want to put a title on it, it's about labeling or classifying angles, if you like. Okay, I'll call it classifying because that's a nice big fancy word.
Wait, are we writing this in the column?
So this is like the title of your whole table. Okay.
At the top.
So at the top, if you like. Now your three columns. Here's what I'm going to call them. The three things we want to know about the angles are: number one, how big is it? So size. Okay. Once you know its size, you can give it a name. Okay. And there are 6 different kinds of sizes, 6 different names, and that's why there's going to be 7 rows. Lastly, we'll just draw a diagram off from the sides so that, like you guys know, picture tells 1,000 words, right? So that'll give us a better idea when you visually look at it. You're like, oh, I can recognize. Okay. So here's our table. Here's how it starts. Now, all of these sizes, right, they're all going to be in terms of the units for angles. What is the unit that we use for measuring angles? Yeah. It's degrees. Good. Now, by the way, if you've got your calculator there, and you go through like the mode and the cell and that kind of thing, you'll notice that degrees are not the only way to measure angles. In a couple of years, you'll learn about different ones, but degrees are the ones we're going to stay with for now. They make things quite easy to sort of divide up and compare with each other. Okay? So the first size that I'm going to think of is between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. Okay?
Is that what the first one is?
So this is going to be my first row here, okay? Now, what do we call such an angle? Let me draw one for you, okay? Here's 2 arms and an angle in between, right? That's the kind of thing we're talking about, and the name is acute, right?
These are cute.
That's a cute angle, isn't it? I won't make any points, okay? Now, when you go up from there, if your angle's exactly 90 degrees, okay, we call that a right angle. Okay, now what does that thing look like? Well, you want them to be perpendicular to each other, and when it's exactly perpendicular, we don't put a curvy little sign. What do we put?
A box.
Yeah, a little box, like a little square sort of thing, like that. Okay, now you're starting to see the pattern, right? What's the next size range that I'm interested in? Okay, so that's going to be the word. The actual size, I should have said between 90 and 180. Good. Okay, now I already heard the word. It's obtuse. That's interesting. What's it going to look like? Well, if you're picturing this arm here, it's sort of moving up. So I'm going to get that. That's the kind of angle that an obtuse angle is. Now, just a little side note, acute and obtuse. You guys know I love to know the names of things where they come from. They both come from Latin words. This one means sharp, and this one means blunt. Because you look at them and you're like, it's sharp. Like, don't poke me with that thing. Whereas this is not very sharp. It's blunt. Which, by the way, is why, like, doctors are like, does it hurt? What's it like? Is it acute pain? Or is it like kind of a dull pain? Well, that's sharp, right? That's the little one. Anyway. Okay, that's 3 angles. We've got 3 more. Okay, the next one. Before the reflex. I'm going to get to the reflex one. Yeah, I'm going to go all the way down and it'll be flat. So it'll look like this. Put a little point in there, which is like where your angle is. If you go all the way across,
180?
that's 180 degrees. Exactly 180 degrees.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see it by putting 2 right angles next to each other, and you'll get that straight line across. Okay, so like you said, that's called a straight angle. Okay? Now, I already heard the name, but what's the actual size that we're interested for this? It's between 180 and
360. Is that reflex?
Yeah.
180 and 360. That's a reflex angle. Okay? Now, what's that thing look like? It looks like this. It looks like the obtuse angle, but it's actually the other side. Okay? Now, the way I remember that this is a reflex angle is because you know how if you ever needed to go to the doctor and they want to check your reflexes, right? They make you sit on the table or whatever, and then they tap your knee, and if you've got the right reflexes, what does your leg do? It goes woo, like that. Like, which is that what that looks like, isn't it? It looks like your knee, and there's your shoe, sorry, and there's the rest of your body. So that's how I picture, that's how I remember that it's a reflex angle, okay? All right, that was between 180 and 360. Last one, 360 degrees. That's our final row. What do we call this? It goes all the way around.
Revolution.
It's called a revolution, exactly right. Revolution.
Wait,
Which I've always found kind of strange, because this is what a revolution looks like, right? You've got a point there, and the angle goes all the way around. But when people say, wow, it's revolutionary, usually they mean, what's that mean? It's like a big change, isn't it? Like there's the French Revolution, or these new Nike shoes are revolutionary, or something like that. But actually, a revolution just sends you back in the same direction that you were in the first place. It's like I'm facing this way, and then you go 360 degrees around, and you're still in the same direction. I find that weird. Anyway, there you go. There's the names. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different kinds of angles, and that's where we see them. You can see, by the way, 360 degrees. Why is it 360? Why is that the number to go all the way around? Why not say another number like 100? We do like decimal stuff. Why not 100%? Because of the what? Ah, okay. Yeah, it kind of makes things nicer to divide up. There's other reasons why it's 360, but one of the main reasons is it's easy to divide up. 360 divides by a lot of numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think it's divisible by 7. I think it's divisible by 8, 9, 10, 12. You can divide 360 degrees into all of these numbers. So if you want to divide up evenly, like slices of pie, it's really, really useful. Anyway.